With one of the most American holidays here, have you ever wondered how Thanksgiving became one of the most beloved feasting holidays? Here to share more about Thanksgiving as we know it is the celebrity historian, Raffi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, grateful to be here on the holiday for gratefulness, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think people just love and enjoy Thanksgiving, but can you tell us a little bit about what that first Thanksgiving kind of looked like?
Well, we often think about, Plymouth Colony, 1621, right, the Pilgrims, but really that's kind of a myth that we come up with after the fact, centuries after the fact. Now, it is true that in Plymouth Colony there was sharing of a harvest between the English colonists and the indigenous people, the American Indian tribes there, but it was not the first time or the only time that something like that happened. There was sharing of harvests in the past. For example, in Virginia, there was some relations, of course, between indigenous peoples and Europeans, both positive and negative. But think about Pocahontas, for example. That was years prior, and those communities did come together and share harvest as well. So there was kind of those incidents before. There are also different days of thanks that were given throughout the colonies in the 1600s. And really, all that stuff has taken place 150 years before the era of the Founding Fathers, who wouldn't have really celebrated Thanksgiving the way we think of it too. So the first Thanksgiving in the U.S. is really by George Washington. He declares a proclamation for a day of thanks on the first year of the Constitution, believe it or not, so early in the Republic. And they were it was always up to a presidential proclamation each time to actually declare that Thanksgiving. So it wasn't a set holiday, it was up to the president. For example, Thomas Jefferson, a couple presidents later, didn't declare the Thanksgiving. He thought it was too much of a mixture of religion and the government. But it wasn't until Abraham Lincoln, generations later, that he declared it again to bring back Thanksgiving, again as the country was going through a tough time. But if you want to think of Thanksgiving as we think of it today, with all those different iterations, I would draw it to Franklin Roosevelt in the era of the Great Depression and World War II. That's when we established Thanksgiving as a fourth Thursday of November, and it's officially established and not moving around and not always up to the president to declare each time. And part of the reason that it's established is because there was some lobbying by the holiday shopping folks. These are the days of the Macy's Thanksgiving parade that are starting up, of course, and all that, to have a certain set time for Black Friday and Christmas shopping season. So Thanksgiving is very much connected to how we wanted to see Christmas shopping season and how long we wanted it to be.
Well, it's perfect to kind of see how some of those traditions kind of started up and came about. So Absolutely. It's great to kind of hear, where we got that start.
That's right. Now, I'll just say just real quick that because it's such an American holiday, as you mentioned, these foods that I brought here today, of course, you have the squash, the sweet potato, and the green beans, all come from North America and are very American food. So as you eat the turkey and the sides, think about the fact that since you're celebrating the harvest from the Americas, which is kind of the origin story that we tell ourselves, you're celebrating an American harvest.
Well, what a great thing to think about. Chris will have a full look at our forecast when we come back. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.